I was on a work call when the realtor's sign went up in my parents' front yard. My childhood home, the white clapboard on Maple Street with the wraparound porch and the swing Dad built when I was 7, had a bright red "Sold" slapped across it before I even knew it was listed. Mom called that night. "Claire Bear, big news, we sold the house." I waited for the part where she said they were downsizing or retiring to Florida. Instead, she said, "Brandon and Whitney need it for the wedding. The venue they wanted was booked 2 years out, so we're giving them the money for the country club package. All inclusive, 200 guests, live band, the works. Third wedding, third bride. Third time, Mom and Dad emptied their savings for him." I reminded her, gently, that I'd offered to help with the down payment on a starter house when Mason and I got married. They'd said they couldn't afford it then. Mom laughed like I was being silly. "Oh, honey, that was different. Brandon's been through so much." I hung up and stared at the childhood photos still on my phone. Me on that porch swing, Dad pushing me higher, Mom waving from the kitchen window, gone. For Brandon's third open bar. 2 weeks later, they showed up at my door with a U-Haul and 2 suitcases each. Mom hugged me like she'd won the lottery. "We'll only be here temporarily, just until we find something small. 6 months, tops." Dad looked embarrassed, but said nothing. Brandon wasn't even with them, too busy picking out his 4th tux. That night, Mason found me in the guest room that was now full of my parents' boxes. "They sold your home for his wedding and now they're moving in with us?" I nodded. He kissed my forehead. "Then we play the long game." I opened my laptop and started a new document titled Temporary Guests Exit Plan. Because if they thought 6 months was temporary, they had no idea how permanent I could make goodbye. The first month was honeymoon phase. Mom cooked every night. Dad fixed the leaky faucet. And they kept saying, "We're no trouble at all." I smiled and nodded while adding items to my secret spreadsheet. Column A, everything they'd brought into my house. Column B, original purchase date and price. Column C, current depreciation value. 0, because most of it was older than me. Brandon's wedding was in 8 weeks. Every phone call was about centerpieces, signature cocktails, Whitney's third dress fitting. Mom would end each one with, "You're coming, right, Claire Bear? Family supports family." I always said, wouldn't miss it. Behind the scenes, Mason and I turned the basement into a perfect in-law suite. New paint, new flooring, new furniture. Mom teared up. "You didn't have to do this for us." I smiled sweetly. "Oh, it's not for you. It's for the next owners. We're listing the house next month." Silence. Dad recovered first. "But where will we go?" I shrugged. "You sold your house for Brandon's wedding. I figured you'd want to be close to the happy couple. They've got that big new 5-bedroom McMansion, right?" Mom's face went white. Brandon and Whitney had already told them there was no room for parents. Whitney wanted the guest wing for her influencer studio. That night, I overheard Mom on the phone with Brandon, pleading. He laughed. "Mom, we're starting our family. You'll figure something out." I added a new line to the spreadsheet. Emotional damages, priceless. The second month, the little annoyances started. Mom rearranging my kitchen to help. Dad leaving the TV on Fox News at full volume. Mom borrowing my car without asking and returning it on empty. Every time I brought it up, the answer was the same. "We're family. We share." I stopped arguing. I just updated the listing photos, beautiful basement suite included, and scheduled the open house for the weekend after Brandon's wedding. Because nothing says temporary, like an eviction notice disguised as a sold sign. The open house signs went up on a Thursday. Bright red balloons, fresh cookies baking in the oven, the whole show. Mom walked into the kitchen, saw the realtor's folder on the counter, and froze. "You're really selling?" I nodded, pouring coffee like we were discussing the weather. "Market's hot. Offers are already coming in over asking." Dad shuffled in, newspaper in hand. "But we live here." "Temporarily," I reminded him. "You said 6 months. It's been 9. Mom's eyes filled with tears, same tears she used when Brandon needed another car in college. Where are we supposed to go? Brandon said there's no space. I sipped my coffee. That sounds like a Brandon problem. The first buyers came that Saturday. Young couple, expecting their first kid, loved the basement suite. Mom tried to help by telling them the furnace was old and the neighbors were noisy. I smiled and handed them the home inspection report. Perfect condition. New furnace last year. They put in a full-price offer that night. Mom cornered me in the laundry room. If you do this, you're throwing your parents out on the street for your brother's happiness. I folded a towel slowly. No, Mom. You threw me out of my childhood home for Brandon's third wedding. I'm just returning the favor. She called me heartless. I called the moving company and booked them for the Monday after the closing. The next week, Brandon FaceTimed, shirtless. Whitney doing his groom's skincare in the background. Mom says you're selling the house? Dude, not cool. I held the phone so he could see the sold sign in my yard. Congratulations on the wedding. Hope the open bar's worth it. He started yelling about family and loyalty. I hung up. That night, I printed the eviction notice, polite, legal, 30 days, and left it on the kitchen counter next to Mom's favorite mug. The mug that used to be mine when I was 10. I took that back too. The countdown had officially began. The day before closing, Mom tried the nuclear option. She invited Brandon and Whitney over for a family meeting in my living room. They showed up with Starbucks and entitlement. Brandon sprawled on my couch like he still lived there. Whitney filmed everything for her real-life wedding vlog. Mom started crying immediately. Claire, if you sell this house, your father and I will be homeless. We gave up everything for your brother's happiness. The least you can do is let us stay until we find something. Brandon jumped in. Yeah, sis, I'm about to be a married man with responsibilities. I can't have Mom and Dad stressing me out right now. Whitney nodded, ring light in hand. It's giving bad energy before our big day. I let them talk for 5 full minutes. Then I slid the closing papers across the coffee table. House closes tomorrow at 10 a.m. You have until 5 p.m. to remove your belongings. After that, anything left goes to the curb. Dad finally spoke. You can't be serious. I pointed to the line where it said, cash sale, no contingencies. Buyers are paying $20,000 over asking. They want to move in next week. Mom wailed. Brandon called me selfish. Whitney whispered, this is going to make great content. I stood up. You have 1 hour to pack what you need for tonight. Hotel recommendations are on the counter. I booked them under your names, non-refundable, of course. They stared like I'd grown a second head. Mom tried the guilt card one last time. After everything we've done for you. I smiled the calmest smile of my life. You sold my childhood home for his third wedding. Now I'm selling mine, so I don't have to live in your fourth mistake. I walked upstairs, locked my bedroom door, and turned off my phone. From the window, I watched them load boxes into Brandon's leased Escalade, arguing the whole time. Closing day was sunny and quiet. The buyers, a sweet young couple expecting their first baby, handed me a check and a bottle of champagne. I signed the papers, took one last photo on the front porch, and drove away without looking in the rearview mirror. That night, Mom left 14 voicemails. The last one was just her crying and saying, "We're at a Motel 6. Brandon won't answer his phone. Please, Claire Bear." I didn't call back. 2 days later, Brandon's wedding was trending on TikTok for all the wrong reasons. Whitney's Dream Day vlogs showed up with zero family in the background shots. Comment after comment. Where are the parents? Why does the groom look miserable? Because Mom and Dad were sleeping in a roadside motel with no money left after paying for ice sculptures and a fireworks show. Whitney, posted a tearful story. Some people choose money over family. We're still grateful for our day. The internet didn't buy it. Someone dug up the old listing for my childhood home and connected the dots. The comments turned brutal. Sponsors started pulling out. A week after the wedding, Dad showed up alone at my new townhouse with one suitcase and red eyes. "I left your mother at Brandon's. She can live with the consequences she created." He didn't ask to stay. He just said, "I'm sorry, Claire Bear, for all of it." I made him coffee. We sat on the porch and talked for the first time in years. Really talked. He admitted he'd always been afraid of Linda's tears. I told him it was never too late to choose peace. He moved into a small senior apartment the next month. We meet for breakfast every Sunday now. No drama. Just coffee and quiet. Brandon's marriage lasted 4 months. Whitney filed for divorce when the money ran out. I never got an apology from Mom or Brandon. I stopped waiting for one. Some things aren't about forgiveness. They're about finally putting the oxygen mask on yourself first. House sold the next day. I never looked back. 2 years later, I'm sitting on the porch of the little mountain cabin Mason and I bought with the profit from the house sale. No neighbors for half a mile, just birds, wind in the pines, and the kind of quiet I used to pray for. Dad comes up every other weekend. We drink coffee on this same porch, talk about baseball, never about the past. He's softer now, still working part-time at the hardware store, pays his bills and keeps him busy. He says he's never been happier. Brandon's third marriage ended exactly like the first two. Whitney took the dog and half of what was left. He moved back in with Mom in her one-bedroom apartment. They fight constantly. I know, because Dad tells me, then adds, "Not my circus anymore." Mom still posts the occasional Facebook rant about ungrateful children and tags me. I don't see them. I blocked her years ago. But mutual friends send screenshots and ask if I feel bad. I don't. I kept one thing from the old house, the porch swing Dad built when I was 7. Mason hung it here under the oak tree. Our daughter, Maggie, named after the grandmother who actually showed up, swings on it every evening while I cook dinner. She's 2 now. She'll never know what it feels like to be second place. Sometimes I get messages from strangers. "Your story helped me go no contact. Thank you for showing me I'm not crazy." I answer every single one. I don't need revenge anymore. I just needed space. And I took it. Looking back, selling the house wasn't about money. It was about drawing the line they kept erasing. They thought family meant I had to carry them forever. I finally put them down. I'm Claire Thompson. I used to be the good daughter who never said no. Now I'm the woman who knows her worth isn't measured by how much you give away. It's measured by how much peace you keep. And my peace? It's priceless. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story with and respect.